Afternoon, folks. Out on the trail again, in one of my favourite parts of the forest. This is what we call the old, well, what I call the old ghost forest. It used to be an old logging road here, but the state in its infinite wisdom has since closed it off. So it's going to get overgrown, and of course the trees are going to, like they are, start to fill in the old road here. Come on, pup, good girl. So we're enjoying our hike out on Sunday afternoon, just to see actually how this area is recovered. And as you can tell, this used to be a road here, and I got to tell you, nature quickly around here repairs itself. As you can see, this road is pretty much filled in already. I've got a lot of pine trees growing in the middle of the road here. You know, there are sections that are a little bit bare here, but for the most part, this was mainly due to a lot of fire. We had fire upon fire here, and a lot of it took a long time to recover because the pine cones that dropped from the first fire, they're called Serotinous Pine Cones, so they're covered in like a resiny wax. And what happens is it's the last line of defense for these pine trees, and what happens is they drop their, the trees will get burnt like this one, and then they'll drop those pine cones down, and then the next bout of fire sweeping through will pop open the seeds, the pine cones, to allow the seeds to disperse. So it's a nice process that these trees have, and that's what they use to repropagate the forest. So I'm going to cut this short a little bit. We're going to carry on with our walk, and once we get through to another section, we'll get you back on a bit of video here. But Willow's staying close. There's some signs of coyotes around, so she's going to be quite close to me. And we're actually going to cross over a trail up here. For those of you in the area, you might actually know this, especially those of you that have been cycling around Batstow, because we do cut across the bike trail that goes to actually Batstow, and it's one of the sections we'll actually be hiking on this little short hike we're doing this afternoon. Shouldn't be too far up here, actually, pup. Should be just up the way here. Somewhere around here. She's having a really good sniff. You having a good sniff? Good girl. Come on, pup. I'll have a look in the snow for some tracks, see what we can spot. I haven't spotted anything yet, other than, I believe, a hunter's track. Oh, here we go. Here's the trail. So this is the trail, whether you can spot that on the camera. Let's just have a quick look down here. We're going to be coming back this way. So this is part of the orange trail. She knows where she is. This is part of the orange trail that actually loops back to Batona. As you can see, that's a new one. That one right there, no horses. And there's now no e-bikes. So I thought that was a wheelchair for a second. No wheelchairs. Doubt you could get a wheelchair down here anyway. But yeah, they are cutting back on certain usages around here, which is a shame, because one would think the state would want better access for people, whereas in fact they've now, with loads of road closures, restricted access to certain areas that people would want to go. For the likes of me or friends of mine that have got disabilities, they can no longer, come on, no, we're not going that way, we're going this way, can no longer get to certain points where they were able to venture into the wilderness a little bit more, simply because the state's closed a bunch of roads off and really done nothing to entertain the fact you could park at then a trailhead where they closed the road, and then, make some sort of trail system from there for people. But no, they've just close the roads down, it's going to turn into this. And the problem what you've got here is we've got areas like this that are now unmaintained because they've got basically you've got no traffic over them, so they're not being worn down. Nature's repairing itself, but what you find is in areas like this that now no longer have any kind of traffic, you tend to get a lot of invasive species in those buffer zones. And there's, well, if you talk to the state, there's no real plan to manage those invasive species. That's the problem that we're going to be faced with. So it's great closing roads down, but traffic would destroy those plants that are invasive. I hate to say it, but that's exactly how it occurs. But without any traffic, the invasives technically could take over. So that's something that we're probably going to be seeing more of because of this policy. All right, folks, over and out for now. We'll catch you further down the road. Hey, pup. Say goodbye. Was there a mouse in there? Willow, Mrs. Look, what's in there? What's in here? Willow, what's in there? Up, Willow. Who's in there? She knows there's nothing in there. Come on, see you later. Back further down the trail a little bit. We're just getting the last vestiges of the sun. Incredible. Let's just go wide angle here so we can go any wider. There we go. So you can see a lot of burnt pine trees here, and these pine trees still have cones on the top. That's their second line of defense. You can see them up there, but what we have here is an example of a tree trying to protect itself. So when all the branches die on a tree, on one of these pitch pines, you end up with this growth coming out the side of the tree, and these are called epicormic shoots, and they're kind of a defensive line that the tree puts out. Obviously they've got no branches left, so it's the last survival mechanism of a lot of these trees, so they look like big furry pipe cleaners. That still might not save the tree still might die, but you know, you can see a couple more trees over there. There you go, pipe cleaner. So there's still some pine cones on the top of that one. So the insurance policy of these pine trees is really tremendous. All the way up that tree there, she's really tried to save herself, and she'll probably survive with that amount of growth. It's when you start to see the epicormic shoots dying off, then you know that the tree wasn't able to save itself. Like so many of these trees through here that were burnt beyond any kind of repair. Here's a tree up here ahead that's got a good amount of epicormic shoots. Let's have a look here. There we go, look. So this tree's kind of doing okay. So she's got a lot of shoots going all the way up. None of her big branches are survived, but the epicormic shoots are doing their job in keeping the tree alive. Hey, puppy! I know! And you get little bushes at the bottom too. So yeah, the trees got an interesting safety mechanism, but you can see all through here the devastation. It was fire after fire that swept through this place. Look at this. I'll try and speed up a little bit. Sun's going down. Beautiful Sunday afternoon. I do actually have I'm trying out a pair of binoculars. These Athlon Midas 8x42s. And I'm going to tell you what, these things are as good as my old Pentax DFC WPs that are 20 years old, and 20 years ago they were, God, I think I paid around $900 for them. 20 years ago, they were expensive. Obviously, not like a pair of Zeiss or Swarovski or, you know, the Vortex Legends or whatever they are, but certainly an expensive pair for me. But these little Athlons, I mean, they are made in China. So they do have Chinese manufacture, but I've got to tell you what, for the quality, they're incredible, absolutely incredible. So we've got the sun setting down, and then as the sun's going down, we've got the moon rising. There she is. Beautiful. So quiet out here. I'm making too much noise. Alright, we'll catch you further down the trail, folks. Over and out for now. How's it going, folks? A bit further along the trail. I'm actually on the old road here, and as you can see, nature just about make out the wheel marks there and there. Nature is definitely filling in the gaps. So we've only got to let her do her thing, and she'll sort it out for us. We've just got to stop interfering as much, I think. But as you can see, beautiful area here. Absolutely gorgeous. We'll walk down this trail a little bit more. Well, the old logging road, if you can call it that now. It's just an overgrown mess. The dog keeps sniffing the air, so we definitely know there's coyotes around. So we're going to be on the lookout for them. That's why I actually brought the binoculars, just to see what we can find here. And although they're kind of a heavy pair for hiking, they're actually lighter than my, these Athlons are lighter than my Pentaxes by probably about 6 or 7 ounces. The rubber armour on them isn't very good. It's kind of a hard rubber armour, but they do provide a good amount of grip if you're thinking of purchasing a pair. The glass on them is really, really good. Obviously, they've saved money having them made in China. Oh, goodness. You know, there we go. Some trees here like this one, absolutely devastated. You know, this was a hot fire the last time around, and it did a number on these trees. Absolutely a number on them. Oh, some planes flying by. Up ahead there's actually an old, well, it used to be a lake. I don't think there's any water in it now. We've been so dry over the last few years. It's probably completely dried up. Little dog. You know, instead of going around the tree, she decides to kind of squeeze through it. And all she's got to do is kind of go around it like this. She's funny. But as you can see, a lot of these big trees are starting to fall now that have died. But what they will do, like I said, is they'll open their pine cones like these, and then what will happen is they'll start to seed from scratch right here. So it's probably a seedling that came out of this dead tree right here, taking up the realm of the other one. Hey pup, good girl. We'll go over and see if this when we get up there, see if this lake's got any water in it. I doubt it very much. You can see a lot of new growth starting to occur on the hillside over there through the trees. If I zoom in, lots of new growth up in the back there. This was devastated still, just like this section. Ooh. Oh, are you enjoying your sniff? Good girl. Yeah, lots of fallen trees now. So the area is slowly filling in, and it makes a lot of sense just to let nature do its thing. But you know, they closed this road down, or this old logging road, I should say, this track. But it did no harm. It doesn't go. It doesn't go through a sensitive area. It's upland, and there's no nesting pine snakes down here, or habitat issues with barred owls and whatnot. But they chose to close the access to it, which is a shame, because some people can't hike to this point. Let's go over to the, oh, you can see the lake. She totally dried up in a grassland now. Wow. Hey, pup, come on, let's go see. This is a complete grassland. The only thing you've got to watch for, you can get some sharp spikes, and you just got to watch the dog on them, that's all. Be careful. What she's doing down a trail. So this used to be a lake. Not very deep lake, just a shallow lake. More of a wash where water would collect. And we've been so dry over the last few years that it's just literally turned into a, you know, a grassland here. The dog's enjoying it. Let me go over into the basin a little bit here. Yeah, lots of signs of deer. Deer poop everywhere. Loads of deer poop. So it looks like when there was a little bit of water in here, they were probably coming down to get a drink. But this right now is, there's fresh deer. So no end of it around here. So there was probably a little bit of water in here when we had some rains a few weeks ago, but obviously not a lot. The ground's still fairly dry. So like I said, we've been in a drought for a couple of years now. The rivers have been low, and this certainly hasn't had any water in any capacity for at least... How old are you now? You're 12, aren't you? Are you 12? Willow, come here. Come here. Come. Come. Sit. Sit. Good girl. Ah, sit. Come on. You know what to do. Come on, sit down. She doesn't like sitting because of her leg, it hurts. Come here. Willow, up, up, up. Are you 12? I think she's 12. She is 12. So... probably the last time this had water in was, so she's 12, so it would have been about 4 or 5 years ago this had water of any sufficient amount. So quite a long time ago. You are a little bugger. All right, come on, let's cut back through, shall we? Come on. She's not doing badly for 12. So in human years, what does that make her? 77? Don't think I'll be jumping around like she does at 77. But there you go. So that was the lake. All right, we'll resume this journey in a little while. How you doing, folks? Back again quickly. We're heading ourselves west towards the setting sun over there. And as you can see by the sheer amount of growth that's occurred from all of those Serotinous Pine Cones spreading their seeds after the last devastating fire. There we go, look, there's some Epicormic growth on that one. So that tree is one of the few survivors in this section. But as you can see, if I wide angle out on here, the views through this forest are going to be gone in, what, 5 to 10 years. You'll be literally in a very green tunnel riding this bike route because of the sheer amount of pine trees that are actually growing in this area now. Significantly more than when the trees were, as you can tell, look. Let me just stand up here real quick, point down. The density of new pine trees to the old growth is truly staggering. And when these trees are, you know, some of them are already over 5 feet tall, like this one. So when these trees are 5 to 10 feet high, you're not going to have a view down here. You will lose your beautiful views of the ghost forest because it will be a sea of thick, heavy green. You might get a few little areas like this when nothing's grown, but your views are going to be significantly less than what they are now. So if you do come down the Orange Trail, make sure you come through this section because the views are going to be gone in a few years' time. Hey pup, what are you doing? Willow, what are you doing? Oh, yes, I know. Good girl. Hey, pup. Should we carry on, walkers? Should we carry on? No, that's the wrong way. Look, this way. Come on. This way. There you go. Where's your bally? Oh, we got no bally. We left it in the car. Sorry. Beautiful. Oh, and we're being chased by the moon. Moon is rising up there beautifully. Look at that. Superb. So my advice is to get down here on this trail, the Orange Trail, whether you've got a bicycle or whether you're on foot like I am, and enjoy this stunning scenery before nature fills it in with lots of new growth. You can see you're going to have a wall, a sea of growth. Massive area here that's being filled in. Come on, pup. Good girl. I think I might get myself one of those DJI handheld gimbal things so I don't have to hold this in one hand and kind of faff around with the other, so I can keep it nice and straight, or just use the camera on the gimbal. That might be the best way of doing it, I don't know. I'm getting a nice view over this section. Oh, crikey. Obviously something's around because she's doing a lot of sniffing. Beautiful. So quiet. So anyway, a bit further down here, I've got another funny story for you. So, about 5 years ago, you can see it. Let me try and zoom in. Right there. There. Well, see that fallen tree right there in the middle? Right there. Top of my finger. So anyway, about 5 years ago, so this is kind of the view I see. About 5 years ago, we were hiking this trail at night. The moon had risen over there like it's doing now. It's behind clouds. And it was a little bit breezy. And Willow's ahead of me and she starts to growl. And I'm like, what the heck is she growling at? And so I come to where I am now. I come down the trail here. Come down to where I am now, and she's facing this direction. And as I look over there, bear in mind there was none of this growth right now. It was all dead trees. It was just all flat dead trees. There was no greenery. Right on that fallen tree down there. I've lost it. Where's it gone? Where did she go? There. Right on the end of that tree about, and that's probably 200 yards from us. Okay, I'm on 18 times zoom here. Right on the end of that tree, there appeared to be this black and white creature that looked like a panda. And I was looking at it moving on the end of that tree. And if you can just picture that real quickly. Out there, it's dark, there's moonlight coming down. It's a little bit breezy. And there at the end of that tree looked like a panda. And the dog's growling at it. And I'm thinking, what the heck? You know, we don't have any pandas in Warton State Forest. So I'm stood here for a few minutes contemplating what I'm going to do, because it's clearly moving on the end of this tree. And I didn't have any binoculars on me, so, you know, and I thought that's one huge, ginormous raccoon, or a ginormous, you know, the only other white and black thing is, well, white and grey kind of thing is a possum. But I'm thinking they're the only two animals it could possibly be, but this thing was much bigger. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to just tell the dog to sit here and I'm going to go and investigate. So I carefully worked my way over the fallen trees down to that point, trying to figure out what this animal was. And as I got within about 25 yards of it in the moonlight, I could clearly see what it was. So it wasn't a creature at all. It was a black and white plastic bag. And the wind had gotten inside it and kind of inflated it a bit. And it was blowing just kind of enough on the end of the tree that looked like it was feeding. So, but I could swear to God it looked like a panda from back here. So that was kind of made me laugh out loud, and I got back and the dog's sitting there looking at me as if to say, well, what are you kind of laughing about? And I took her down there so she could sniff it, and then I think she realized, oh, this is nothing to be growling at. So actually that's one of the reasons now why I carry not this pair of binoculars all the time, but it's one of the reasons I do carry either a small pair of binoculars. These I'm just trying out on a hike just to see if they're light enough. They're a bit too heavy actually. I normally carry a little 10 by 25 pair of Nikons, little Trailblazers that are great. But I'm just trying these out tonight because just to give them a go, and they're a little bit too heavy for hiking. But that is the reason why I actually now carry glass when I hike. It's so I can sit on a trail here and go, what the hell is that? That looks like a freaking panda. Let me get my binoculars on it. Oh, it's a plastic bag, rather than very apprehensively walk through the forest to an unknown creature that looks like an escaped panda. Yeah, so that's the reason I actually now carry glass. And I recommend that you guys do too on your hikes. And it makes a lot of sense, especially to view and observe nature, and to look at things that you don't quite know what they are. All right, pup, let's get on with our... Come on, got to go this way. Let's get on with our hike. We'll catch you a bit further down the trail as it starts to get a bit more dark. We've got a few miles to go. Over and out for now. We're just coming up to this sign. It got a little burnt. 6 miles, 3.3 miles. If you can figure that out, you're a genius. But look, already see how these trees now are obscuring the view over on this side. Getting rid of your view, and that's definitely going to be what's happening here. Beautiful though, isn't it? More Epicormic shoots. This is a giant pipe cleaner. Look at this. Wow. All the way up to the top. The sun has just gone down. So we're in the blue hour now. Kind of. Just look at the little blue over there. Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. If I've got time on the way back, I might post another video if I can actually go down there and find it in the dark. But I might just do a quick video and record some sound down at the crash site of where News Channel 6 helicopter crashed in the Pine Barrens, just off Middle Road. There was a little plaque that was left for the pilots of the news channel helicopter that died there, the photographer and the pilot. But somebody took it off the tree. I have a sneaky feeling it was the state when they bulldozed their little road to go in just to cover it up. The state doesn't have our best intentions at heart, I'm afraid, when it comes to things like that, because, you know, there are memorials in the forest and on the side of the road for people that have died, you know, and they're not official memorials, but the state's left them alone. But for some reason they decided to take that one. I'm not exactly sure why. See, this view is going to be one of those views that's going to disappear over the next years. Beautiful view down there. Hey, puppy. Good girl. Should you put your light on? Oh, it's not quite dark enough for the light just yet. Once that sun officially disappears, you've still got some red in the clouds over there, then we'll put your light on. You dog? Good girl. That was a coyote. Not far away. Willow sensed it. Alright, over now for now. Okay folks, a bit further down the trail, we've just come through like the wooded kind of upper section of this trail. Beautiful through these trees here. Got some grasses growing through here, and then you've got a little bit of a vista down the valley here. I'm saying valley, I mean for the Pine Barrens it's a valley. It's a low point. There's probably a bit of a spung down there somewhere, where the hillsides converge. These are all paleo dunes anyway, so the trail makes its way along the top and will eventually go over on that side through those trees and then make its back to the trail where we first walked up and crossed the bike path. But the sun's going down. Beautiful night. Dog's having a sniff. Hey pup. See, some of these new pine trees have died because it's been so dry. So up here on this high point, it's been a bit of a struggle for the new growth, simply because of how much drought we've been in over the last couple of years. So it's remarkable that you actually see some new growth as it is die off. Rarely you see that, but these last couple of years you definitely have. Good girl. Hey pup. She's going to be looking out for deer. There's an old deer stand right there. Can you see it? Right there. Old wooden deer stand. Charred up. She's waiting for me. You're a good girl. Yes, you are. I can't think of a better way to hike than to have a little companion with you. Especially a 2 or a 4-legged companion. My preference is actually to have a 4-legged companion. Sorry. I do like hiking with dogs. Gives them plenty of exercise, gives you plenty of exercise, and you know, it's interesting to watch them. You know, their senses are definitely a lot more advanced than ours and a lot more sensitive. So she can spot things or smell things or see things that I probably typically wouldn't see. So as we're coming up here now, let me zoom out a little bit more. We're coming up to like another little hillside. We'll have another little view in a second as we make our way through. So we've got another little hillside over here. The trail will go off and go through those woods. Good girl. At least somebody's been trimming up the fallen trees. I was a bit concerned about that. Excuse me, I've been drinking some water. It's coming out. The trails are typically cleared by volunteers. Batona Trail is cleared by volunteers. Sierra Club gets down there. The South Jersey Club, the Outdoor Club of South Jersey, I should say, they get down there. But what the state's actually requiring them to do now, which is another diss on the state, got a lot of those, is they're requiring these organisations that do volunteering, in particular clearing trails for public access, they're actually requiring some of these non-profit cleanup groups to get a permit in order to clear the trail. So a permit, a special use permit, is $180. So in order for you to volunteer to clean a trail, you must pay $180 to the state in order to clear that trail. That's their job. Does that make sense? No, I don't think it did, does it? Beautiful. So, yeah, if you want to volunteer your time to clear one of the public accessible trails, you must pay for a special use permit, which is $180. And that is not fair. And it's never been implemented like that. Ooh, beautiful. There we go, we're getting a bit more sunlight on this side in now. We'd lost it for a minute. Heap up. Good girl. Alright folks, catch you in a bit. Over and out for now. Alright. Trail has turned back to where the kind of the road we walked in up is heading. Sun's setting over there. This trail's quite icy, so it hasn't been getting a lot of sun. We're getting a lot of moonlight now, which is nice. As the sun disappears, the moon takes over. How beautiful is that, eh? I was just watching the moon emerging from one of the clouds. So right up there. Going to be a beautiful moon tonight. Absolutely gorgeous. But unfortunately the video starts to struggle, I think. I think that's the problem. I think these cameras, there's 5 of them on this phone, and I want to say each one of them's kind of optimised for a certain focal range and a certain ISO, which is probably not the best in low light, probably. But I'm still capturing a good amount of footage here. The trail access to our little loop is going to be just further down here, not too far away. The dog's over there. She's been sniffing. Something's been walking through here for sure. She was wanting to go off trail earlier, which was funny. There she is, look. She's definitely got the scent of something. There's probably a lot of mice out here. You know? What's she doing a pee? Hey, pup. Alright, we're back on the trail. Went a bit further. Sun's going down well now. The moon is behind some clouds. Hopefully the clouds will clear out. We'll get some nice moonlight coverage later on this evening when we do our final walk of the night, because this one will not settle down unless she goes on a midnight hike around the neighbourhood. Hey, you know what I'm talking about. But as you can see, the phone image is starting to degrade a little bit because it's getting darker in here, especially with all these charred dark trees. The trail will be coming out onto the little fire road we hiked up on fairly soon, and then you know, we'll actually be out of the woods at that point. We'll be back to the vehicle and heading home for some dinner. It's a little bit icy on this stretch. You can see how devastating some of these corners are. Even the grasses have failed to come back. Hey, pup. Good girl. The old moon's completely behind a cloud now, so the camera on the phone is going to struggle. I know this thing is probably optimised for its focal lengths at each one of its 5 lenses, so it's not going to be the best, I'm afraid. Certainly not as good as a proper camcorder, but it's remarkable how well they do. Here we go. Hey, pup. So that road is just up here, and then we'll hike back down the road and go back to the vehicle. Beautiful. Good girl. Hey? See if we can get a bit of light here. Good girl. Good girl. Soon be time for your light, little dog, I think. And there's the road just up here. You can see the opening. I think the trail marker's in front. On one of these trees. Which tree? Maybe this tree. There we are. Strangely, this one doesn't say no e-bikes. But on the other trailhead, like joining this, it says no e-bikes. So I guess if you get caught on the trail on an e-bike, to say you came from this direction, going around the other way, and one could argue that the sign doesn't say no e-bikes, because it clearly doesn't. Hey, pup. All right, here's the road we came up. Good girl. Come on. Alright folks, like I said, if I've got time to stop at another location, we'll see if we can get some video footage of where the News Channel 6 helicopter came down, and you know, give you a bit of an exploration of that. But I don't know, it's getting quite dark now, and it's going to be difficult to see things. I actually don't have my FLIR on me tonight, so it was a kind of a last minute hike we were doing here, so I didn't have a lot of equipment other than this pair of binoculars. So like I said, it's significantly darker than this video shows. Excuse me. So I think we'll see what happens. If not, over and out for now, folks.